Hello. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the Portuguese healthcare system. I'm going to talk about my first visit at a Portuguese hospital, how it went, how much it cost, and my honest experience. All right, so let's get right into it. For those who don't know me, my name is Mary Golf. Of course, this is my channel, My Seasoned Life. I have lived and traveled all over the world. I'm on my second country as an expat, and I'm just telling you about my life experiences. So if that's something that you're interested in, then stay tuned because we have a lot more coming. So let's talk about this healthcare system and the Portuguese hospital visit. Okay, so let me backtrack a little bit to show how I got the appointments and things like that. Now, when I was moving to Portugal, I did a lot of research like I suggest for anybody to do when they're moving to a new country. And one of the most good sources of information was Facebook groups where the expats were hanging out, sharing all kinds of information. So I did a search on healthcare and I found out that there was a medical concierge here in Portugal called Serenity that will make your appointments for you, find you English-speaking doctors, give you recommendations. They'll also help you get your health insurance if needed. They'll help you register for the Portuguese healthcare system. All these good things that they'll take care for you to make your transition a little easier once you get to Portugal. Now, when I was in Panama, there was no such I think there might have been a concierge system. Yeah, there was for expats, but I did not sign up for it because I didn't think I needed it. Did I need it here? I think when I initially moved here, I was a little intimidated by the Portuguese language because it seemed to be a lot harder than Spanish. So I think I signed up for it the first year just out of wanting some source of, ease. You know, when I first got here, I didn't want to be stressed out about trying to do too many things. So I signed up for the concierge system to get my appointments scheduled, to help me get health insurance. Because one thing, as I'm processing for the D7 visa, is that when you go for your appointment for your residency card, you need to have proof of private health care. That's one of the recommendations here. It wasn't when I was in Panama, but here, Portugal is a whole different system. And in order to get my residency card, I had to have health care. So with the healthcare system, there's a 90-day grace period that you have to wait before you can start scheduling the appointments. Also, there's all kinds of healthcare here in Portugal. I would search the groups, I would Google. There's just all kinds, and they range in all different prices depending on if you have pre-existing conditions, depending on how much coverage you need for things that you have. Excuse me if I'm bumping against the mic there. So my particular insurance, I have MGen insurance, and I'm at the highest, one of the highest categories right now. For the first year, I just wanted to make sure everything was covered because I want to get full checkups on everything during my first year, but I'm probably going to lower it. I don't think I need this much coverage, once I get acclimated here in Portugal. And also, once you become a Portuguese resident, once I get my resident card, you actually can enroll into the Portugal healthcare system and you get free healthcare. So I don't think I'm going to need that much coverage. I'm going to lower it. Right now I'm paying I think $190 a month. It's also a family plan too, but it's just me. So right now I'm just the only one covered. But during my second year, I'm going to lower it because I will also have access to the Portuguese free healthcare system. Okay? And the thing you want to remember about the Portuguese healthcare system is that if you have an emergency, you need to call. It's not going to be 911, it's going to be 112. want to make sure I got that number right. Yeah, 112 that you called here in Portugal for an emergency, and you're going to be transported to the Portugal hospital, the public hospitals. That's where you want to go because they have more resources, they have more experts, more specialists at their disposal. So they well equipped to handle any emergency 24/7. So if you have an emergency situation, even if you're not already a resident, you still want to call 112 and you still want to go to the public hospital to make sure you're getting all the care that you need. Okay? So let's get back to my appointment at my private health hospital. I went to a private hospital called Lusíadas. Lusíadas. That's what it's called. It's here in Porto. So I had an appointment for a EKG. I had an appointment for an echocardiogram. And what was my third appointment? Oh, my third appointment was I had blood tests, like lab work from head to toe. They covered everything. So all of those appointments were on one particular day. And once the appointments were made, I had a confirmation directly from the hospital. They sent me a text with the appointment times, where the doctors were, all that good stuff. And then I also got an email from the medical concierge team letting me know about my appointments as well. And I did have a question about the lab appointments because in my text it said fasting, but it didn't tell me what time. So I didn't know what time I was supposed to stop, eating or drinking or whatever. And I wanted to make sure I could have water. So I reached out to my concierge team, which I'm assigned to a nurse. You're assigned to a nurse to find out, hey, I need to have more detailed instructions about this fasting appointment. Is there a particular time I should stop eating? And to make sure I could have water. So the cutoff time was 8 p.m. or I think it was 10 hours prior to that, 10 or 12 hours, might have been 14 hours. Whatever it was, my last time I could eat was 8 p.m. All right? And of course, you can't eat anything the morning of your appointment. So I went to my appointment, and my first appointment was with the echocardiogram. So I walked into the hospital, and I think it also told me what floor I had to go to. And this particular hospital is broken up into like 3 zones, A, B, and C. And they have different floors depending on the zones. And all the receptionists also have letters to it. So it's fairly organized. You have to make sure you're just going in the right zone. So I think I was looking for zone B when I initially walked in the door. And the good thing is they have like greeters, like informational people that are right there that can like show you in the right direction what to go to. So I immediately went up to the, I'm going to call him a greeter, a hospital greeter, showed him my appointment and wanted to know which direction should I go to. So he said straight ahead. He had very limited in English, which is another thing when you're in a foreign country. Don't expect people to speak English. If they can, then that's like a plus for you. But be prepared to pull out your translator if you need to make sure you get to where you're going. Now, because my text was all in Portuguese, I just showed him the text, and he was directing me to the elevators, which was straight ahead. So I had to go to the 6th floor for my first test. So I got up there to the 6th floor, and I saw that there was a waiting area. There was like a receptionist. And one thing about being here in Portugal is that they're very big like on the number system for like customer service. So if there's a machine for you to take a number, even if there's nobody in line, you need to take a number. Nobody was in line, but I know how it works now. So I went to the machine. Everything's in Portugal, but process of elimination in my limited knowledge of the Spanish language. Some of the words are the same. So it was a word that looked like consultation, and I figured that meant examination. So that's what I clicked on. And sure enough, she called my number, and I went up there and told her I had an appointment. And she asked for my insurance card, so I pulled it out, gave her my insurance card, and she basically, I think, printed out my, my appointment, actually prescriptions or whatever you want to call it. And she also said that I want to pay the copay now or that I want to pay the copay afterwards. And I just said afterwards. I didn't even know what it was. I just said afterwards. So I went and sat down and waited to be called. And then I was called maybe 5 or 10 minutes later. It was pretty quick. Also the receptionist told me they would call me by number, not by my name. So those numbers are very important that you get out of the machine. So she called me. I think I had a number that I figured, I looked it up in the language translator to make sure I knew how it was going to be pronounced. And I got up when my number was called. And once I got into the room, the technician did not speak any English. So she was I figured she was saying my name. So I said Mary Goff. She wanted to confirm that it was me. And then she also wanted to know what was my height. And she also wanted to know what was my weight. Now, I didn't know that's what she was wanting to know. She was trying to type something in the computer, and she did like this. And I said, oh, you want to know how tall I am? And then she said, yes. And she said, millimeters or meters. I think it was meters. And I was like, I don't know my height in meters. So I pulled out my phone, did the conversion, and I looked at the computer that she was typing in, and it said she needed in meters. So I gave her the numbers in meters, and then she pointed at the next screen. She needed my weight in meters too, so I put it in the converter, and I gave that to her as well. So we kind of chuckled about it because, as long as you're pleasant with people, you can get through these situations where you don't speak the language. But you've been in a doctor's office before, you kind of know what they need when you walk in the door. So then she was telling me that I needed to take off my, top, and also I knew the word for bra because it sounded like brassiere when she said it in Portuguese. So I was like, okay, so now I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, there's no robe or anything. So, no robe, so you just pull off your top, and I pulled it off, put it on a chair, and she was telling me to lie down on the cot. I'm not calling it a cot, but the hospital bed, the examination bed. Yeah. So I had to lie on my left side on the examination bed, and then she was putting those things on my back. I guess the electrocardio things. She's placing them in different spots on my back. So I'm just lying there, and all of a sudden, I can't remember if she said just a moment. She might have said something like that, okay? And then I hear the door open, and I hear a male's voice. Now I'm laying on the table, chest out, although my back is towards the door. So I'm thinking, oh, somebody must be just chatting with her. All of a sudden, the door closes, and I hear footsteps. I don't turn around. I'm just, lying there. And then the male starts speaking to me. And in my head, like, what? And I'm like, okay, Mary, chill out. This is probably the doctor because there was a male's name on your appointment thing. And so he wanted to know if I spoke Portuguese or English. And I said, he said, which did I prefer? And I said, English. He said, okay. So he told me that he was going to do the exam, and then he started replacing some of the things on my back. Maybe she didn't have them in the right spot or whatever. But so it was kind of like an ultrasound thing because he had some kind of gel stuff, and he placed it like on my chest plate, like at the center of my chest plate. And that was like right here, right below, right in the center there. That's where he placed it. And actually, that was a little uncomfortable because he had like firm pressure And that's a pretty tender area there, right in the middle, right there. I mean, it's like, it was he had like firm pressure. And he was moving it around, and he was also typing on the machine. And one thing I wanted to say was that he was not in a rush to get this done. He was the actual cardiologist. He was the specialist. The technician did not do the exam. The cardiologist did the exam. And he was very detailed. I mean, he didn't come in there for 5 minutes to chit chat. He came in there and basically did a very thorough exam. He took his time, I could tell. And then he moved from that position to right under my left breast with the ultrasound thing. And that's what I'm going to call it. So he was moving that around. Once again, it was firm pressure, but it wasn't uncomfortable as it was right there on my chest plate. So I heard him clicking on the machine, and I was just, just lying there still, trying to stay calm, And then he said to me, everything looks good. He said, you're going to get the results later on, but I just wanted to tell you that it looks all good to me. And I said, okay. And so then he gave me like paper towels. He told me I could wipe the gel off, and I didn't realize that it was so much gel like on my chest area from the ultrasound thing. And he said that you have your EKG next. So he said they'll be right in. And I said, okay, thank you. And he left. And I was like, wow, that was the actual cardiologist. In the States, you have a doctor's appointment, you're sitting there forever waiting for them to come in. And then a doctor will walk in there for maybe 5 minutes and talk to you for 5 minutes, and he's out the door to the next patient. This guy actually did the exam. So that's how it was also in Panama too. You're going to have contact with the actual doctors. And prior to getting these appointments, I had to meet with a GP, a general practitioner, and we talked for like over an hour. So they believe in establishing relationships with the patient, and they believe in talking to you to find out exactly what you need. So that's that. Okay, so here comes a girl in with the EKG, and I guess by this time they know that I'm an English speaker because she comes in speaking English. And she's pushing a cart. She tells me that she's a technician and she's going to do the exam. And so, she plugged the things up, and the EKG was done in maybe 2 or 3 minutes. She put some plugs like on my legs, and then I think up here again, and they were done just like that. And so I had to go, my third appointment was to go to the labs. So I confirmed with her that I had a lab appointment and which floor that I have to go on. She said, because I thought it was the first floor. She says, no, you need to go to 0. I said, okay, thank you. So I'm getting dressed, wiping off all the gook off me, put on my clothes, go to the elevators. Now, I thought I pushed 0, okay? So I get off the floor, and I'm looking around, I'm like, So I just go take a number, and I go sit down, like I did, the first time. So she calls my number, and then when I went up, and she said, can I have your appointment, or your prescription thing? And I said, I already turned that in when I came in. Then in my head, I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, are you in the right place? Because she should already know that. And I gave her my name. She said, I don't have you here. And I was like, and she said, what are you looking for? And then I showed her my appointment. She said, no. She said, this is floor 2. You want to go to 0. So we laughed, and I said, okay, and I left. I got up on the wrong floor. So I get down to 0, and it looks like a lab. There's several people working. They got about 3 or 4 technicians, handling people at the front desk. They got all kinds of numbers. And they had when you go to the lab, you could pick either you had an appointment or you didn't have an appointment. And I do remember that the word SEM, S-E-M, means without something. So I needed to not choose the word that said consulta, whatever it's called, SIM. That means you didn't have an appointment. So I chose the other one to make sure I had the right number. So waited to be called, and then she called me in, and she was a nice technician from Brazil. She spoke a little English, so I was telling her I had moved here, and she wanted to know if I liked it, and so we had, nice conversation. And she first tried to get the blood from my left arm, and she hooked this little thing on my arm and told me to squeeze, and she felt it, and she's like, no, I'm like, it's not no good. So she's like, she want to go over to my right arm, and I told her, I said, oh, it's normally hard because they normally have to get like the small needles to get blood out of my arm. It's normally hard to get it out. So she put the thing on the arm, and I'm squeezing my arm like this again. And I turned my head because normally I don't want to be stuck more than once, and I'm hoping that she found the vein that she needed, because it's normally a whole process trying to get some blood out of my arm. So she sticks it in, and she tells me to stop squeezing my arm, stop pumping it, right? And I'm like, ugh. In my head, like, go blood, please come out. And she moves it a little bit, the needle. I can feel her move the needle. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to be stuck again, please. And then I happen to look down, and here comes the blood. And she has three of those vials to fill up. And I'm like, oh, she got it on the first stick, one and done. And so she's filling them up like it's no problem. I'm like, she's good. She knows what she's doing. So got that done. And then she gives me a urine cup. And, was telling me I need to go to the bathroom. And that the bathroom was like on the second floor to the left. It was not on the same floor as the lab. And here's the thing, y'all. This cup, I don't know, it was kind of like that wide. In the States, normally the urine cup has a wide mouth, right? This was not a wide mouth cup. When I got the cup, I was like, what in the world? So I was like, okay, Mary, you need to, make sure you're putting it in the cup and not all over in the toilet. So I catch the elevator. I think I'll take the stairs up. I'm like, well, let me go one floor up, see if I can find a bathroom. And I went one floor up, just started walking around. I don't think I went to the right bathroom. I went down there in like the examination rooms and saw a sign for bathroom and just went in there. I don't think that was the one she was telling me to go to, because it wasn't to the left. It was to the right. But I found the bathroom. So washing my hands, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the cup. I'm like, this is really small. I mean, for a man, no problem. But for us, I was like, okay, you need to like really put this in the right spot. So end up, couple of bloopers, but then finally got the right spot, filled up the urine cup, no problem. So I ended up wiping it off, washing my hands again, and getting a paper towel, because here I am having to carry this urine cup through the hospital, back down to the lab. And actually, I looked at it too to see what color it was. And that's another thing that I want to tell you, that if you're drinking enough water, your urine should be like a pale color. It shouldn't be dark, shouldn't be bright anything. It should be a pale color. That shows a healthy amount of liquids, healthy hydration. So my urine was a nice color, and I was like, okay, great, I'm getting enough water. Anyway, so I go down to the front to turn in my urine, and so I guess one of the ladies thought I was just getting there, coming in, and she was telling me I need to take a number and get an appointment. I'm like, no. And then I saw the one technician who spoke English, and she said, and she saw my name on the unit. She said, "Oh, she's already been here." She said, "Look, she has the her name and date on the urine cup." So she said, "Oh, I'll take it for you." And I said, "I'm not thinking." That's why I gave it to her. And I left. And then I had to go back upstairs to the 6th floor because I forgot my copay. So I went upstairs for the copay, and she said it was $34. So I had the EKG, the echocardiogram, and a whole bunch of blood tests, and that was a $34 copay. So later on that day, I got a text from the hospital, Lusíadas, Lusíadas is the hospital in Porto, one of the private hospitals. And I got text basically telling me my results. So I had to sign into the hospital site. Had to put in my NIF number, which is like your Portuguese Social Security number. Everything is attached to your number here. So I put in my number. Then they sent me a pass code to my phone to log in, and boom, there were my results. I had my EKG chart. I had the results from my echocardiogram. I didn't get my blood work and urine results till the next day, but the other exams I got back the same day, which is amazing that you get access, to your actual test right there, instead of having to send in some request or sign some form to actually get your test results. You get it right there, so it's all there in their system. And let me see if I can find what they said about me. Okay, so my EKG and my electrocardiogram. Can I find that? They said, is this it? Okay, yes. Okay, so this is just a summary of my echocardiogram and my EKG results. Okay, they said my heart size was normal. Heart values are functioning normally. My wall thickness is healthy and strong. My septum, my heart divider, is intact. They said my pumping power is 55%, which is excellent. My right heart strength is 27 mm. I don't know if that's millimeters. But they said it's super strong. There's no fluid, no blockages, or no abnormalities. So basically, my heart is strong and it's functioning very well. Okay, so let's look at my other tests, if I can find it. Do I have the other test results? Oh, jeez. But, okay, this might be it. So it was like 4 pages of results, because they literally tested for everything. And so they said my blood sugar and kidney function, they tested my glucose and all of this stuff. Everything was normal. They said I had a healthy kidney function, stable blood sugar levels, excellent for my age. My blood count and hematology, the red and white cells were were all in normal ranges. My vitamin B12 was high to normal, so they said that that's good for like I believe energy and brain function, so I'm doing very well there. My thyroid function was normal range, no problems there. So my thyroid is functioning very well. I know sometimes we women have problems with our thyroids and don't even know that it's not functioning well. So that's why it's important to get these preventative maintenance checks just to see how you're doing. Check under the hood. You don't wait until you have a problem. You want to be preventative about stuff. So that's what I'm doing. My liver health, all of that was my liver enzymes were in a healthy range. Vitamin D was in an optimal range. Urine analysis was no protein glucose. They said it was good. This is what needed some attentioning, which is really interesting. Not interesting because I understand where these numbers came from. They said my LDL cholesterol was slightly elevated, but my good cholesterol was excellent. So your LDL cholesterol, they said I needed to increase my fiber, like eating oats and chia seeds and beans and salmon. And here's the thing. These are all the things that I eat. But prior to getting my blood work done, I was just coming off this detox that I was doing, and I wasn't eating my oatmeal. I wasn't eating salmon. I wasn't eating a whole lot of salmon. I wasn't eating a whole lot of chia seed because I normally eat oatmeal every day, and I hadn't had oatmeal in probably 2 or 3 weeks. So I hadn't had beans either, and I love beans because, like I said, I was trying to do this detox. So I think that affected my LDL cholesterol. I really do, because it was slightly elevated. So what I'm going to do is I'm back to my regular diet where I'm eating my oatmeal, I'm eating my beans again, and chia seeds. I was kind of eating, I wasn't eating a lot of chia seeds either because I just started doing overnight oats and I put chia seeds in those. So all of these things that they're saying, oh, you need more of, I was like, what? This is what I eat. But then I remember, oh, you weren't eating those things. So I'm going to probably retake that particular part of the test. Maybe, I think it recommended 3 months or 6 months, I can't remember, but I'll be doing that. In the meantime, I'll still be doing what I'm doing. I'll still be walking, still, eating. I don't eat processed foods anyway, but still continue to eat healthier. But overall, my report came back very well. And so I'm at low risk for any, I guess, heart disease or anything like that. But I am going to retake the test, make sure I'm eating the right things to get that LDL, because they said slightly elevated. So I just want to work on that. But other than that, everything worked out well. Everything came out really good. So I want to encourage you to do not wait until you're not feeling well. Do not wait until you're feeling like achy or whatever. In our seasoned lives, we have to, just like you take your car in for tune-ups, just like you take your car in for oil changes, we have to do the same thing with our bodies, right? So this is I'm in this preventative care era, making sure I can be here as long as I can. I have 3 more tests. I have a colonoscopy, I have a mammogram, and I have an ultrasound that I'm going to be doing, I believe, next month. So to make sure, like I said, from head to toe, everything's working as it should be. So I just wanted to share that with you. The Portugal healthcare system is operating very well. And I'm also looking forward to getting my residency card so I can also have the free access to the free health care. That's one of the benefits of being here in Portugal. Also, they did say that because it's free and it's like, a whole lot of people, sometimes if you need to see a specialist with the free health care system, you might have to wait a little longer because there's like, so many people in the system. But how long have I been talking? Oh my gosh, 35 minutes. Time to wrap this up. Sorry, I'm probably rambling. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you found this video to have any value, please like and subscribe. It's a free way to help support my channel. I'm going to have plenty of videos about my life here in Portugal and how it is to move abroad and things like that. So make sure, if you haven't watched the one that I talk about my visa situation, I'll click that over here. Make sure you watch that. And I'll also include a playlist that has all of my Portugal videos, me documenting my life here. All right. Thank you so much. Take care, and thanks for watching. And I need to stop the video.